It's me again. Okay. This is the second video that you need to watch before tomorrow's big career choice. This is called Budget Busters. Read along with me, but first make sure your name and date are at the top. It says budgets are a way to help people keep track of their income and plan their expenses. Of course, unexpected events will arise. Having a solid idea of how to use your money is a great idea. If you talk to your parents about this, they can probably agree that things come up and then they're not planning on it and they don't have enough money to do the things that they need to do. So it's a huge issue keeping a budget. Budgets are also used to help control or trim spending. For instance, if you have budgeted, and I'm going to move, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I will try to move that out of the way. If you have budgeted 10% of your income on groceries and you're spending over 15%, then perhaps there are ways to reduce your costs. In this assignment, you'll be given budgets for different individuals. You will also be given their actual spending. Will their spending line up with their budgets, or are they out of whack? Do they need a trim? Put your percentage skills and problem solving to the test. So before we get down to the nitty-gritty, you will need to calculate an individual's net pay. Okay, this is really important. Net pay right here is different than gross pay. It sounds kind of funny because gross sounds like it would be disgusting. But gross pay, this right here, is the total amount of money a person makes. But the net pay, and that's what you're going to be working with mostly, is the amount of money someone actually receives after taxes and deductions. So budgets are typically planned based off an individual's net pay. What you'll hear parents or people say, that anybody who works will say, that's my take-home pay. What they mean is that's what they actually get. So even though it looks like you make a lot of money on paper, a big portion of your money is going to go to taxes. So you can't take that home. That's not usable money. So tomorrow, when you get your career, and you get your salary, and you get your debt, and you get your taxes, the very first thing you are going to have to do is figure out what your take-home pay is. Take-home pay is the more commonly used phrase for net pay. Gross pay is what you get on paper, like this is how much I make. But net pay is what I actually get to bring home, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and then tomorrow in class, you're going to do this for yourself. So we're looking at DeAndre. He's an entrepreneur, which means he has a business. He has a family of 4. His annual salary is $65,000, but his tax rate is 28%. So the first thing we have to do is figure out how much money he has to pay for taxes, so we can decide what his take-home pay is. You don't have a lot of space on this page, but I've made sure I didn't do back-to-back copies, so you might have to do the work on the back. I'm going to go to the next slide so we have some space to work. Okay, so here's DeAndre. He makes $65,000 annually. Annually means yearly, and he has to pay a 28% tax rate. Last year, you worked a lot with percents, and most of you are able to tell me that percent means out of 100. So I'm going to just give you an example of what you did last year for percents. If I know that I have to find 28% of 65,000, I could say what part of 65,000? I don't know if you remember doing this at all. 65,000. Sorry, can you make sure you write this on the back of your page? What part is the same as 28%? And percent means out of 100. That's why I love percents. They're always out of 100. Makes them easy. So if you remember from last year, what I'm really trying to figure out is what do I have to multiply this 100 by to get to 65,000? And if you notice, they both have zeros that I can cancel out. And once I cancel those out, it looks like I only have a 1. And 1 times 650 gives me 650. So that also means I have to take the 28 and multiply it by 650. And that will give me the percent, or the part. That's how much he takes home. But In 7th grade, you're not going to use these proportions as much. We just finished using equations for a reason. You're going to use the percent equation, and the percent equation looks like this. Part, and I hope you're going to write this with me, part equals percent times, I'm going to use a dot for this time, although you can use parentheses because you know we know how to do that, percent times whole. Okay, now, the whole amount that DeAndre has is $65,000. So underneath whole, I'm going to substitute $65,000 in. Whoops, my handwriting is hard on this thing. And I know the percent is 28%, but I don't write 28 because percents mean out of 100. My son is giving me dirty looks right now. So I'm going to write 28 out of 100. And if you say that to yourself, 28 hundredths, the best way to use that is as a decimal. So rewrite 28 out of 100 as a decimal, which becomes 0.28. And if I multiply that by 65,000, sorry, I should have an answer that works. Pause the video, please, and check it on your calculator and see what you get. Of course, my whole page erased once I click to the next screen, but if I take 28%, and I'm hoping you did it correctly, if I take 28% of, remember of means to multiply, 65,000, it's very hard for me to write. Hopefully you got the same thing as that I did, which was 18,200. Now what does this number mean? That's the amount of money that DeAndre has to pay for taxes before he gets his paycheck. So how would we figure out how much he gets to bring home? We would have to take the salary that he has, which is $65,000, and we have to take away the taxes. So we're going to subtract 18,200. Please write this on your paper. So I want you to remember, this is the gross pay, gross, ooh, and this is the tax. And when we subtract both of those things, I'm going to do it on my calculator right now. You should get 46,800. Okay, what is that? That's the net pay, more commonly coined take-home pay. Any of these things we're talking about, you should have conversations with your parents privately, but this is stuff that they really have to deal with every time they get paid. So it's their take-home pay. So in the net annual income, what that means is that's the $46,000. So even though he makes $65,000, DeAndre only actually gets to use $46,800. Now here's the next question. It says, what's the net monthly income? Ooh, monthly? Well, how many months are in a year? That means we have to take this 46,800 and we have to divide that by how many months are in a year, which is 12. Oops, hope you can read my handwriting. So if you take your calculator again, I'm going to do the same thing. Take 46,800 and divide it by 12. And it looks like, at least what I got $3,900. Okay? Now tomorrow, when you get your paycheck, and you're going to find out your career, you will need to fill all of this information out. So that's why I wanted you to have all of these notes written down, even if it's on the back of your sheet. The rest of the page we haven't had time to do because already I'm at 10 minutes and I don't want to give you a really long video. So make sure you do the exit ticket after this. These notes need to go back into your mailbox because we're going to continue working on this stuff probably Thursday and Friday. So don't lose the sheet, But this is where we're going to stop today because otherwise it's a little overwhelming. Okay? So the next thing you need to do, you're not going to submit these notes. You're going to do the online exit ticket next, and then you're going to take these notes and stick them back into your mailbox. Please be good for the sub. And if you finish early, get your CR done or any other backup work that you have to do. I'll see you tomorrow.